And good Monday morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is LoreForged, the podcast for Ashes of Creation. It is episode 78. My goodness. This is
78.
This is getting, yeah, man. You know, most people live to be 80, and we're right on the cusp there. I think
we're almost 80 years old.
80.
Look,
what I don't want to be 80.
Yeah.
anyone that's worked in public service sees 80 and they're like, dear God, I hope I'm dead by then.
I will be long dead by 80.
Oh gosh,
you say that. You're going to hang on for like 15 garbage years at the end and live to be 95.
Oh my God. I want to live long enough to move into your town and shit my pants. and then call 911.
Oh, that's the best.
You're going to have to hurry because I'm 45. So even though you get to retire 5 years before I do, I am not going to be doing this when you are that old, unless you plan on going downhill real fast.
Maybe when your son takes up the family mantle, I can bother him at 2 a.m.
Right. They're like, don't even respond. It's not worth your job.
Yeah. No, we know that
address. Doing it to
address.
screw with you.
Oh gosh, that's funny. Well, you heard him. Sonny's here.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I did a stream today. I streamed a live stream today. I'm going to refer to that live stream as Intrepid, screwing around in the desert with no plan.
Oh,
that was one of the funniest and most bizarre live streams I've ever seen. Cash, what did you think about that today?
Well, you actually had mentioned it on the live stream that it's very funny to find that they just willy-nilly pop into a live server and then people find where they're at and just go screw with them in the middle of the live stream. It's like, and again, people want their 4 seconds of fame, have at it. But the Federation was attacking them and killing Steven's mount. And
they sent him a guild invite. Did you see that?
It's like
sent him a guild invite at the end. He's like, decline.
Yeah, it's just
the nuts on them though.
Mind.
That it just
full send.
We're doing it live. Where are we gonna do it in a test server? Nope, right on the public realm. just get out there, put all the devs in one spot, and hope that nobody shows up. Oh, they showed up. All right, I guess we'll just deal with it. They got wiped in the middle of trying to kill a bunch of NPCs because one of them got flagged, and so then they a whole bunch of them got killed. Oh, unreal.
But I do notice they go to Lyneth.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
They don't go to Vyra.
They do. You don't see them on Vyra a lot.
No, they don't come to the Petri dish, which I think is freaking hilarious. It's been quite nice, to be honest with you.
I wonder what they think about Vyra over in Lyneth. You think Lyneth thinks that they're Vyra, the way that we think we're Vyra?
I don't know. I feel like they think we're the dumpster fire.
Oh my God, it's insanity over here.
Yeah. I think they think we're the dumpster fire.
They can see it glowing in the distance.
It's the apocalypse.
Yeah. And I mean, granted, this week it's been quite nice this week. I think I'm seeing a lot less of because I've kind of been all over the Riverlands over the past couple of days. I mean, the servers have only been up for 4 minutes, so
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's still gnarly, but it's been a pretty good experience over the last at least the time we got to play, because the servers have been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah,
since,
I think there's fewer people though too.
Yeah, there might be fewer people. People might be waiting for the weekend to jump in just because all the issues that they've been having. But Steven is keeping them open. Going to keep them open all week, pretty much.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, JB, I like when they do that. I like that if they have something that's pretty much catastrophic and it's down for more or less a day or two, that they're like, you know what, just leave it open for a little while longer.
Yeah.
They don't have to do that.
No.
But they do, which is nice.
Yeah, they really don't. I mean, I guess they did say that they, in their pre-packaged, what was it, that the servers, 5 days a week at this time. I guess that is in writing. I don't know if that's on the the pre, whatever those packs are called. Again, I don't remember. Where you can buy into the alpha too. But I don't know if that's written there like that. That's what you'll have. So I don't know if they're like tied to that or not. But yeah, it's definitely nice. It's out and about. But Cash, how are you, my man?
I'm good, man. I took Thursday off actually, which was kind of cool. It was just kind of cool to be home and not have to worry about going to work, obviously. But I didn't take it off to play. I mean, I wanted to play. It just didn't quite work out, and it was an interesting day. Just watching the server go up, start to play. Ooh, I have a list of things I need to do, and then the server goes down. So that was cool. I got in a wreck on Sunday night. That was not fun.
Yeah.
That was not fun.
Wreck seems like a strong word. It wasn't like you didn't total the car.
Bro, somebody could have given me a door ding, and that's me getting into a wreck. I'm talking about my car, like my beloved.
If you would have seen that out of like, if you would have been called as a firefighter to send an engine down for a car wreck, and you showed up and it was that, what would you have done?
I probably would have just given him a pat on the back, but no, that didn't happen. None of that happened. But no, I did. I jacked up my front fender and bumper on my car, and this is my very beloved car that is in the garage. Always has a fresh coat of wax on it. Like I am here, and here's the funny part. My daughter's car. I have a truck that I drive for work. It's a work truck. And my daughter's car was in the shop. So my daughter was driving my wife's car, and my wife was driving my car because my daughter's like, I ain't touching your car. I'm not driving your car. I do not want that responsibility. Yeah, because I'm pretty picky about my car. So my wife's she was driving my car for probably 3 weeks. And every time she would leave for work or I'd talk to her on the phone, she'd be like, okay, baby, I'm going to work. Be like, don't scratch it. Every time.
Wow.
It was like clockwork. I would tell her, don't scratch it. And I'm joking, right? Because she's my wife. Something happens to my car. It is what it is. As long as she's okay, that's all I care about. But I found out that she's like parking the car like in the furthest spots in the lot.
Oh, buddy.
You got the fear of God in her.
Nobody dings it. Because I am not a fan of door dings. I would rather walk. So I'll park my car far away from other people. And she started doing that. And then who's the person that dings the car?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Can you describe what kind of car this is?
Yes, I have it's nothing special. It's a Volkswagen Atlas, but I love it. It is a freaking fantastic.
Someone at Volkswagen is getting their wings right now. It's like, there's a dude in California that loves our Atlas so much.
I love that car. It's a nice
We're going to bring him over to Germany. Come on, let's send him a plane ticket.
And speaking of Germany, I bought that particular car for a reason, because that thing has really good crash ratings, and it's built like a freaking tank. It's a German make, right?
Right.
So the thing is built like a tank.
Oh, yeah.
And it held true, because I got clipped pretty damn good, and that thing didn't move. It was solid. And luckily, like, no airbags or anything went off. But my kid was safe. I had my kiddo with me. And anyway, everything's fine. But that was probably a highlight of the week, which was actually kind of a low point. But anyway, took it in today to get it fixed. So,
well, that's good. I'm glad at least you can get it fixed. You know, I'm glad you're okay.
It's mostly just plastic stuff.
Yeah.
Yank off the plastic, put more plastic on.
Right. It's a car, right? And like, and my kid was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" It's like, she's looking at me after the whole thing, like, "Is he going to implode?" We were going to a concert. We were going to a concert, and she's like, "Dad, we don't have to go." And I was like, "Are you kidding? We're going." She was like flabbergasted that I was just like, "Oh, well, here we go."
Did you drive it the rest of the way like a NASCAR that like has to finish a lap before it can get to the pits? And then it's like the half of the car is dragging, like a tire is bent inwards.
No, I drove in the slow lane, slowly.
There's a slow lane
at that point.
I didn't know California.
Dude, I haven't had a wreck. I haven't had a wreck since I was 16 years old.
Oh,
well,
So it was a little like, holy crap, that sucks.
Reset that counter.
Yeah.
Days since accident 0.
I know. It's been 4 days since a lost time accident.
Oh, we're glad you're all right, buddy. Well, everybody, thank you again so much for hanging out with us. Push and Play today. Today on the show, we got some fun things. We got some announcements, and we're going to talk about the dev update, and we're doing a brand new segment. And it's called Back in Time. We're going to go back 50 plus episodes ago and listen to our statements and opinions and see if we still agree with it. So we've got at least 6 different questions lined up.
Do we sound younger?
I sound like I have more hair. That's right.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like it's there. We'll find out. But anyway, before we get going, though, Cash, why don't you take the lead on the guild announcement? What we got going on? What happened this past week at Black Talon?
So we made some pretty big changes, actually, in Black Talon, and we had some really good reasons for doing so. It was getting a little rough for us to both run the guild and run the show and make content and do all that stuff. And we felt that probably one of the better ways to free up some time and to put the guild back into the hands of some very passionate people who are like really absorbing the game even more than we are. So we made some changes to our branch leadership and we brought in some talent. So yeah, or if you're in our guild, then you know Chappie J took over the Warborn. And you know that Esteban took over Capital, and I'm still looking for somebody to take over the Warden. So until that happens, I am firmly in the seat to keep the Wardens moving along, which right now, until we get, a lot of lore and a lot more, PvE things to do, is a pretty easy job. So it's not too bad at all. But it's already freed us up quite a bit. Those guys basically just freaking grab the ball and they're charging down the field with it, which is pretty fantastic. How'd you like that sports analogy?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, they grabbed the puck and then they went into the end line.
You messed it up.
Slam touchdown.
Yeah, it was just slam. They made a slam run already.
Gosh, that's awesome.
No,
3 points.
Yeah, they're crushing it, but. It does brings up a pretty funny point because we did some poking around in some other guilds just to see how other content creators are doing it, and a majority of them were like, oh no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, the fact that we were like running the show and running the guild was, it turns out, a lot more rare than we initially anticipated. That is apparently not something that's done very often.
Yeah, and it's a very unique place in Ashes of Creation. This game is a very unique game.
Agreed.
And with other games, like I have zero doubt in my mind that we could go and run a World of Warcraft guild if we were content creating for that game.
Absolutely.
It's just, you can do it. You can do it.
Right.
You can put raids together. You can do a lot of the things. Yep. But there's so much that you have to pay attention to with this game, and things ebb and flow so frequently and so much that in order to do it right and for the longevity of our guild through the testing phases all the way to launch, which is going to be a while, we figured that this is probably the best thing to do in order to keep the show together and keep everything, moving in the right direction. And we had a meeting, we had a very spirited meeting between the 3 of us. And the 2 things that popped out that we are incredibly passionate about is our content and creating for all of you guys and our community. And in order to make both of those things continue forging forward, it was a tough decision for us, but I think it was the right decision. We made the decision to put the guild in the hands of very capable people.
Agreed.
So things will keep moving forward for Black Talon Trading.
Absolutely. Next order of business. So this is actually a really exciting announcement that I forgot to put in the notes, but it's happening regardless. So to everyone who's here, and by the way, we're streaming this live over at Twitch at twitch.tv/LoreForged HQ. So if you ever want to come watch the live show, you can be a part of LoreForged Live. But happening on March 13th, right? Yeah, March 13th, we're starting a brand new series here at LoreForged. And it's called LoreForged and Friends. Now, if any of you are a fan maybe of other shows, I know Joe Rogan does this, like Protect the Parks. Basically what this is all of us here at LoreForged, and then you're going to see some faces that you're well familiar with, particularly Vlhadusgaming and Mr. Burns. Dr. Burns is in the house. These are going to be special episodes where we all get together and just talk Ashes of Creation. And the way this is going to work is that we each come with one topic, and we're just going to sit back, relax, and hang out with people that we've had a really, just really good folks. And it's been a pleasure working with both sides of the court. And we're going to sit back and shoot the breeze on Ashes of Creation.
Another sports analogy.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was like a legal analogy or like a sport or both sides of the court.
I felt like it was basketball.
Baseball,
I mean, I get, baseball, right? But the baseball court.
Wrestling, hello.
You know, just get out on to get a good old afternoon on the old baseball court.
That's right.
Pickleball.
That's right.
Pickleball. That's a little more our speed right now with the elderly and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, anyway, folks, you can come be a part of the first live filming of this happening over at Twitch. It'll be at 8:30 p.m. EST happening on March 13th. The very first LoreForged and Friends. We're looking forward to it. Look forward to seeing how that develops. Gentlemen, go.
Oh, yeah. By the time this show comes out, when is this show coming out? Monday? Yeah. Show comes out Monday morning. And if you're into it, Tuesday, I will be on Vladus with, of course, Vladus. And is there no one else? And Flanker.
Oh, fun.
Two of my faves. So we're going to be talking Ranger.
Nice.
And I love the way Vladus put it when he put it into a DM that we got going on. He goes, "Hey, do you guys have anybody that's into Ranger that would maybe want to come on and talk about Ranger and we can talk about
the Rangers
skills and opinions on the Ranger." Pause. Hey, Cash, do you want to come on and talk about Ranger?
So,
okay,
not you two, no, that guy.
Okay,
can that guy come on?
Dude, I'm gonna feel like a baby Ranger though, because I'm going on there with like, is there no one else? And Flanker. You guys have ever seen Flanker's Ranger videos? I'm like, okay, that guy is a good Ranger. So,
I mean, it depends on what they want, but yeah, like this is not our wheelhouse, right? Like if we're going in there to talk min-maxing Rangers, you're gonna be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, his cloak is pretty.
I feel like Legolas.
When you get to do the jumpy thing, and you get to fling the sticks.
Do the jumpies.
His cloak is pretty.
Not going great. I'm gonna tune in live just to mock you.
I won't even watch
like, hey,
chat.
can this guy stop talking so I can hear more from Flanker, please?
Oh man!
You know what I'm gonna do in the chat? I'm gonna build a middle finger out of dashes.
You're gonna ASCII me to death.
Oh man, gosh, that's good. Oh gosh, so we just came off of a big. It was a lot of nuggets, I felt like, that made up today's stream of the Great Wandering of the Desert.
Oh, and so many notes.
I know, there's notes galore. I'm going to just throw some quick ones out there, and Sonny can just dive in, man. First off, we got the name of the statue in the Sand Squall Desert, which was lore, which was awesome.
There was lots of lore.
Yeah, and her name is Eterna, the Ageless Warden. That is so cool, man.
Warden, Cash.
Yep. Oh, don't you think I didn't notice that? I was super stoked on that.
Cool.
But I think it was really neat that like that question came up and they were very okay with talking about it, which means that perhaps the leash on lore is going to start coming off a little bit. And when some of the developers were talking in there, they were talking about there's so much story that's going on down there that, you know, they can't give a lot of it away, but they're really excited to release that stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little about Eterna though. Eterna is the Sand Mama. You guys have seen the big giant statue in the desert. There is confirmed, which we kind of knew this, but there is a dungeon under it which is obviously closed off now. But what happened was you had the Aelan Empire, right? And most of the Aelans were up in the Riverlands, probably because the weather's better up there. But some of them in ancient times migrated down to the desert. And that is how you ended up over time getting the Valoon. Yeah, they were definitely the initial beginnings of the Valoon, is the ancient folks who went down there, the ancestors. And it was actually the ancestors of the Valoon. It was these very first migrants that went down there that built the statue. So I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty good little nugget of lore.
Yeah, that was very cool. They didn't have to do that, you know, and that question came up, was like, what is it and why is it there? And they just, they weren't like, now we got lots of lore coming, we got to keep a lid on it, which is their usual stump speech. They were just like, yep, what do you want to know?
Yeah.
And went into it, and it was super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we also got a little bit of a lore tease for Communion, or is it the Communion? The mini dungeon? I forget the exact name. Maybe it's not. But anyway, something.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no. I know what you're talking about, but I can't recall the name exactly on that thing.
Maybe it's communal. I don't know. But anyway, then we saw a little bit of a tease there. We got the March update tease with the big rogue / tropic / node siege update. We got the need greed hotkeys coming to Alpha 2, and then the hunting mechanic revision. Sonny, there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there was a ton of stuff going on. The hunting thing, Catch, you'll like this. They're like, okay, we get it. Hunting, this is a placeholder. Like, this is not the way that we intend for you to hunt. Is to just pet animals to death, be it a crow or like a giant, dragon. That is coming very soon. Is a complete revamp to that, which is awesome. Fantastic. But they're revamping a lot of stuff. I know that Wateroo in the chat is like, fishing revamp when? That's the kind of stuff that they're working on, and so they're going to be doing that. But the hunting one specifically is going to be coming soon. There's XP fixes to the artisan system, which was a big thing.
Oh yeah.
So this was kind of like slipped in there, and it wasn't talked about a lot. But essentially, think about it this way: for all of us that are like level 14 and 15 that have done a ton of artisan and crafting and stuff like that, and have been rewarded 0 for all of that work, that is the kind of stuff that they're going to be fixing. So they're going to try to make it a little bit more balanced, so the people that are playing the game that don't seem to be leveling at all for their time are going to be balanced a little bit more. There was a huge conversation about the static nodes, which I'm going to get to last.
Oh man, chat erupted.
That one is just massive, right?
Gosh.
By the way, this is my this is what I was describing as my analog recollection device.
Oh, look at that.
Purchase one, LoreForged branded analog recollection devices, 3 easy payments, $19.95 to our Patreon.
Oh,
you can get a little bit more if you want the logo.
That's right. Yeah, well, it's $29.99.
It's hand drawn by Sonny with his opposite writing hand.
Put like a whiteout marker. Always put Sunny on it.
Crayon.
The econ marketplace is getting fixed. So the search function on the marketplace is a thing. Now, admittedly, it wasn't like we're going to revisit this in the static node thing, but it was kind of like that for the econ thing, where they're like, we really want to be careful that we don't just transition this search function into blowing it out and turning it into a shared auction house. Okay, so they like the player stall concept. They want to fix the UI for it in the search function. So that, I think, could be coming very soon. I would be surprised if we didn't see that in March. I think this month we get a fix to that search function.
Yeah.
And then there was just a lot of other conversations, but like little things. The big one is this static node conversation.
Oh man.
Holy cow. We could do a whole show on it, but like in a very, very brief thing here, what you had was the players are saying, and the whole chat, you guys were there, the players in the whole chat were saying, we don't like static nodes. We want the nodes to be random location, random time, random rarity. We want the whole damn thing to be rare. Okay. Pardon me, not rare. Random, right?
Yeah.
I want a node to pop up here. I don't necessarily need that node to pop up in the same place. I don't care if it's on a different timer. I don't care if it's a different rarity. I don't want to see it there again. And Steven really hedged on that one. He would not commit to saying that he didn't that it was going to be a random system. He likes the static node location, I think. That's the big thing, and he wants them to be there for conflict reasons. He wants people to be able to fight over these kind of things, like whether or not they have the same rarity. That is different, and he acknowledges that won't always be the same. But he wants like stuff to show up. Like he used the example of caves. He wants caves to be he wants nodes in caves, so like gatherable nodes like gems to show up more in certain locations that make sense to him, right? He wants willow trees to maybe spawn more next to riverbanks. He wants gems to spawn in caves. He wants whatever to spawn wherever. I think he's okay with the static part of where they spawn. The other stuff, I think he acknowledges that you have to spin that off. But man, the players just went crazy. They just went crazy in the chat.
Oh,
they're like, we don't want this.
Did he say where the braidwood was going to spawn?
Yeah, it's going to spawn in the same place it always spawns, which is why the players went crazy. And they're like, you're not creating conflict. You're creating people that steal all the braidwood so that nobody else gets the braidwood.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe this is a topic that we bring in for like a whole show next episode, and we'll pull in like community involvement. But just real quick, I don't know how you don't randomize the time those spawn. Like I
think you have to.
I think you have to, right?
And I think that they acknowledge that. Because they started out by saying like, look, the way it exists now, you can create a bot that will run a perfect loop and get all the crap. Like within 10 seconds of that thing spawning a braidwood, that braidwood is gone. And so the average person like me that doesn't run a loop will never see that braidwood, has no idea where it is because it doesn't exist, right?
Right.
If it's somewhere on a map for only 10 seconds at a time, I will never know it's there.
Right.
And so that has to go. But this other thing of like the rarity and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm kind of with the chat on this one. I mean, Cash, what do you think on this? But I think that the easy answer is just pure random.
I think pure randoms is the way to go, if you ask me, for everything, for rarity and for location. It gives everybody a little bit more of an equal shot at getting those nodes. And I don't think it's going to slow down the competition for those resources at all. I think there's still going to be competition. There'll still be people pushing you off and sleeping you off of those things. The one thing that I did like, did you guys watch Burns' latest video?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so it had to do a lot with this, and there was footage in there of what some of the final vision is for some of the nodes, and I've seen it before a while ago, but it refreshed my memory in watching Burns' video. Like for a lot of the mining nodes, they didn't want there to just be out in the middle of the world just a freaking ruby, right?
Right.
Like Jibs and I were just talking about this. Like we love mining rubies. Just you see it and you're just like, oh, I'm going for that.
Right.
It's just a big red, beautiful petal that you just can't pass up. So, but it doesn't make sense for just rubies to be sticking out of the ground, or, you know, any of those precious gems or, you know, precious metals to be sticking out of the ground. So the way the system is designed is that you're just going to mine a rock, and then you won't know what's in it. So it's like a little mini game. Like you don't know what's in the box, right? And you mine the thing, and then you're going to get different types of minerals. And I love that idea. And you can't really do that with trees, but you can definitely do that with fish, you know, dependent on where you're at, saltwater, freshwater, that kind of stuff. But I love that that's going to be in the game. that you're just not going to know what you get. So I think there does need to be some work there.
You're saying that is going to be in the game?
Yes.
That is the system that they are intending to.
Yes. That is the way that I fully understood that. This is the system that is going to be in the game later. Just not there now. It's not the way the system is currently. So, yeah. I thought that was cool.
I really didn't get that from Steven today. Like listening to that stream, I really did not get that was the system that they were going to be working towards.
Well, for mining, that is how I understood it. Okay. And he said if it makes sense, then there still will be, you'll still like go into a cave that's full of crystals and there'll be crystals there.
Yeah.
That are mineable, right? But when you're out in the world, then a lot of times it's probably going to be a rock, and it's going to be, like you get like a prize at the bottom of a cereal box, and sometimes, you get poop.
That would be great, right? Because then you're making people mine. I mean, it does technically not change like the static part of it, right? Where you could still set a bot to just mine in exactly these locations.
Oh,
but
yeah, you could.
It does take away a lot of the, this bot only mines, blue type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's people with
bot only mines like copper. Right?
Yeah.
That would be nice to be able to remove that.
Yeah, I heard the other day of people having.
I do agree.
I've heard the other day of people having alts that are just, that they've got planted, and they just log in at certain times and
right,
and
like
then
an
log
alarm.
out.
Like, oh, my copper alarm's going off, and I log into my other character, and he's standing right next to the legendary copper.
Yeah.
Boop.
Yeah,
there
that's not cool.
Nah, no, that takes away the spirit of the game, I think. But yeah, we'll have a discussion on that next week for sure. And honestly, I want to hear what the community has to say about it too, especially after.
Last point, they are going to put a dev. This was Steven said, I think we should do a dev discussion on this. And so they are going to put a forum post up or something looking for community responses on exactly this system and exactly this issue. And JB and I were like, JB said, put on your sunscreen. I'm like,
It's gonna be a lot of heat.
Pure flamethrower. That thing is gonna be all butane. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wild. But yeah, so that'll be great. Like if that comes out like at the same time that we're doing a show, that is the show. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I really want to hear what other people have to say too. That's the thing that, like I know we can hear between the three of us all day long, but to be able to pull in other people's thoughts about it, especially like a week from now, when everyone's had some time to think about it, that'll be, I hope they do that dev discussion before they do the one that they're working on regarding, I think it was raids. And I love the one that they were talking about with bosses. I think it was with raid bosses, but yeah, I'd love to see that.
Hot topic.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Well, we're going to do something different here that we've never done on the show. And that is go back in time. Cash had hair. He wore his bell bottoms. Platform shoes.
Still have them on.
I still have them on.
It's true. We don't know if you have legs. We've never seen them.
I assure you, they exist.
You just hugged him last week.
It's true, but only from the waist up.
Excuse me. All right. So here we go, boys. So we're going to go back in time. And some of these are like, do you still feel the same way from this episode? Do you still believe in this thing? Or you're just going to answer the question and kind of see where you land in regards to what you said previously. So this is from episode 21. And this is from Cash. So this is over 50 episodes ago. He was a young man with a clean-shaven face. Let's take a listen here. Last boss, hardest boss.
Like, I don't care if you have a hard boss somewhere in the middle, but still, like, as long as we're still on that in agreement that the last boss should be the hardest boss.
Last boss has to be the hardest.
Do you still feel that way after all this time in Alpha 2? Last boss has to be the hardest boss?
Cash?
Yeah. For sure.
No question. All in on it.
No, I don't. I'm still all in on it. Yeah, I think if you obviously you're talking about, dungeon content and PvE content, yeah, I think it should be escalating. It gets harder as you go along, and the last boss is always the hardest boss. Last boss always has the best loot.
It's true. Now, is there room for...
I got no change on this.
Really?
None.
Exact same?
Like, not even a blink. Like, last boss,
No
hardest
question.
boss. No question.
Huh.
Like, I'm with Cash in this thing. Like, how else would you do it?
Exactly. That was my question.
Like, who's designing this third to last boss is just an ass kicker? Like,
We've had that though. We have had that in dungeons where it feels like that this boss is
true.
just like gnarly mechanics.
Like,
Maybe
if you can get by this guy, then it's clear sailing. But it always feels like anticlimactic. Like, the last boss should be the guy that is the hardest. I get that it does exist, and it does, right? Like, it definitely does. But like, I don't think that's what I want. I want the last boss to be the tough one.
Yeah, I mean, and how else are you going to do it? You're going to put freaking Tumok right in the cave opening, and Tumok's like, "You get past me, so you can get to 1-star Minotaur at end of
like
dungeon."
He's the bouncer outside the bar. Once you get in, like, he's free drinks.
I'd be okay with that. It'd switch it up.
It would switch it up, but there's no reason to get past Tumok, get the best gear, and then work your way all the way down to the weakest boss down there, picking his nose at the end of the dungeon.
Right, and now I'm just gonna kick the barback's ass.
He's a Minotaur that drops white glint.
Dude's 14. Ocean doesn't even know he's working.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so I guess you guys are still on board for last boss, hardest boss. I'll be honest though, like going back to the previous comment I just made about, like, sometimes you come across those bosses, Sonny, and they're like mid dungeon and their mechanics are gnarly and it's tough to get by. Now, in hindsight, I'm kind of wondering if that's just a lack of group cohesion that makes that so difficult in previous dungeons. Like that middle-ish boss versus the last boss. That really...
Sometimes it's like a thing where you don't realize that, like I've experienced this where you have a group of people that all think they have the right gear to run dungeons, and then they put a boss in there that requires something different, and nobody's got the ability to deal with it, and you're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a problem. It's like, this guy isn't tough, but we are not capable of dealing with this at all. Yeah, like we don't have the key to solve this lock here, and so then it just takes like, okay, we got to have like a little bit of this to deal with that, but it's not like tough. It's just you're just not ready for it.
Blue Diamond in chat says the first time running a D&D campaign at age 8, he put a beholder at the cave entrance. Big brother never let him DM again. That's exactly it. It's like, okay, we're gonna need to come back after we level up a little bit.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so last boss, hardest boss. Check mark that one. That's still a thing. So this is from the same episode and talking about memorable NPCs. Let's take a listen.
And I think that it might start with HK47, the single greatest NPC to ever be made. Like, there's books with all sorts of references to HK droids simply because HK47 was such a well-written character. It would be awesome if Ashes of Creation could have NPCs that were as memorable as those ones. I get that we're not probably going to get companions. I mean, who knows? We might get something where some people follow us around for a while, but not a true companion system, probably. But man,
awesome.
That would be awesome. But I just really want NPCs to be that memorable.
Sonny Ravencourt.
Man, I feel like this one is ripe for like rethinking. But like off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody better than HK47 for an NPC. Like I can think of like if you were going to say like R2D2, right? Like, okay, I would put R2D2 ahead of that, but that's not really like the intent of the question, right? We're talking about an in-game companion type of thing. Yeah. And Knights of the Old Republic was so good for that. Yeah. You had him in SWTOR, right? You had like some of the very memorable characters. Cat Tabor's character was exceptionally memorable. Yeah. although I can't recall her name. Vet. It was Vet.
Yep. Sith warrior.
And yep, the Sith warrior, and you had Vet, who was just great. But man, like, I don't think any of those were as good as HK-47. HK-47 legitimately made me laugh, like, out loud as a person by myself in a living room, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I can't think of anyone better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
Del Luna's got to go, and Raz from ESO is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
great.
a good one. That's a good one. And
that's a solid entry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think it's probably I think we can still agree that, you know, like in a game even that's going to be as free flowing as Ashes of Creation Cache, that at the end of the day, like we still, even as gamers, I think we all collectively kind of want to have those memorable NPCs that we all, you know, like latch onto, that sometimes define the IP or the brand. Look at, oh gosh, the worst mage in World of Warcraft of all time that we, you know, kick his nuts all the time, Khadgar. And then
Khadgar,
you've got him. You've got what's the guy's name? The demon. You're not prepared. I'm having a moment.
Not
Illidan.
Illidan. You got
Illidan.
art. You know, like yeah, like you've got these NPCs that just define an IP.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But another one that I thought of was Maik the Liar.
Maik the Liar.
Oh, Maik the Liar. Yeah.
Who would just pop up in different spots in Elder Scrolls and just like give you a mini stroke. I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. I think they took it out, but there was a budding one in Lionhold, you guys. Right in
You brought the blocks.
Have thou brought the lumber? Which is completely a running start nut kick to Planendorf. He placeholder voiced that one.
Oh my god, and they sold him out so bad on it.
Planendorf was in Discord with us that very night when we were running through Lionhold for the first time, and he was like, "Oh God, I can't do it. I can't do it." And we were dying. So you want to talk about memorable NPCs? There's one right there.
I wish that guy would return.
We should have a figurine made of that dude and just send
absolutely.
it to him.
I mean, like someone has to have saved the audio for that, right? That we can just like almost like a button, push it, and have it just say the lines, you know?
Oh my god!
I think Rogue has that as their Discord entry.
So, yeah.
Anytime he enters the channel, have you got the blog?
Got the blocks. I mean, like, can we figure out a way to like remake one of those pull string dolls?
Oh my gosh,
that
would be
so
awesome.
a little doll with a speaker and it's just pulling. Have you brought the blocks? So good.
Oh my god, we're gonna get a hate mail.
I was getting ready to say, I am already expecting the DM. F you guys.
Classic.
Vlad's in chat. What's going on, Vlad?
Vlad's my man. Hey.
Neptune was in Illidan. Yep.
Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. All right, so go ahead. No, go ahead. No, I don't want to step on you. Go.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, I'll go. I still want heroes and villains in this game.
Okay.
I really do. I just think that you know, when you look at somebody like HK-47, who's so memorable and was both a hero and a villain to so many people.
Yeah.
And when you're starting up a fresh IP, those are the things that garner your support. Those are the things that keep you coming back, is when the stories that they tell become memorable. And you have the opportunity to talk about Maik the Liar and stuff, and the you know, those little moments and the characters in these games that keep us coming back, that keep you loving the lore and really make their mark on you in a game. So for those reasons, I really do want lovable and hateable heroes and villains.
Yeah, I think that helps people really elevate elevate and connect with the brand, like for long term, kind of like what you're saying. You know, like it's like a connection point for consumers, Sonny.
No, you're absolutely right. Like I think to kind of put a bow on it, the question is like, do I care about this character, right? Like when you're making decisions, if you don't care about the character, you just make whatever decision happens. But like, man, like almost any game with a dog in it, like I care about what happens to that dog. I don't know what it is. Like I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance and I have this dog named Mutt that is with me, and I will feed this dog. I will pet this dog. I care about this dog. And like HK47, like Maik the Liar, like you stop doing what you're doing and you don't skip the conversations with them. Like you want to have that experience. You care about it. If you can get that, then yeah, that's absolute brand loyalty. Like it's just great, right? Like if you can build those, it's not easy to build those kind of characters, but if you can, like that's the brass ring, right?
Yeah, agreed. Well said, boys. All right, so this one's from episode 17. What did I type in? Did I type in 15? I did type in 15. Dagnabbit, I'm gonna get this right. When did we release this? We released this on December. It was in December 2023, episode 17. It's on community development. Now, this one will be interesting because now we've been in Alpha 2. All right, let's take a listen.
And that is one of the beauties of MMO communities is you find something that you like to do, and then you find like-minded people that also like to do that, and you build a guild for them.
I think right there is, we know that there's going to be all kinds of different guilds in there. And Friendly Zombie says, I would love a flower picking guild. That is definitely going to be a thing. There are going to be there's going to be guilds for harvesting, herbalists, crafting. You're going to have hardcore guilds. Like those are probably going to be your server first guilds. They're going to be there. There's going to be entire PvP guilds. There's going to be role play guilds, trade guilds. They're all going to be there.
All right. So, any surprises that have come out of the community in regards to guilds? 61 episodes later, boys.
Well, all those guilds existed for a while until the PvP guild killed them all.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Especially
I mean,
the flower pickers.
Skylark the botanist, struggling to build his little guild, get wiped by Envious.
Yeah.
I think that it's been tougher on guilds in this game than I would have expected. So I don't know if I can necessarily stand by that statement. I think that by the time we get into launch, it'll be a little bit different. I think that they actively understand, that they've put us in a pressure cooker, that everyone's just right on top of each other. They don't have a lot of mechanics for, the defending of stuff or the leaving people alone. And God help us when the rogue gets introduced.
Oh, my gosh.
But I mean, Cash, I'm going to say that, like, no, I don't agree with it right now, but I've hoped for the future that a lot of these different specialized kind of guilds come back.
I think that we're still going to have them, especially as we get closer. We are going to see less and less of the toxicity as we move along because space is going to increase.
Yeah. Space
is going to grow. Guilds will once again have their ability to find a niche, stick to that niche, and play that niche out. I definitely think, if anything, these alpha testing phases, what they are going to do is they're going to teach guilds to better organize. They're going to teach them to have more protections in place, better ways to work together as a team, because the game is, even in this stage, much more complicated than we had even anticipated. And once that's spread out, and once they fix the resource spawns, like that little plug, once they fix the resource spawns, I think it's going to be a much more wide open game with more wide open spaces. So I still think people will specialize in the things that they want to do. It might lean a little bit more towards PvP, but there's still going to be specializations out there. You're going to have your merc guilds. You're going to have your guilds that do nothing but watch the roads. You're going to have your guilds that do nothing but bounty hunt. You're going to have your guilds that do nothing but caravan protection. And then you're going to have a myriad of guilds that are going to do a little bit of all of those things. So I think specializations will still be there, maybe even more so.
Sonny, what do you think?
JB, what do you think about? I'm going to push this to you. Like, what do you think is going to be the future for this game as far as like guilds? Is it going to be specialized guilds like this?
I think
knowing what you know now.
I think so, but to Cash's point, I think it's going to require distance. I could really see this game launching and being very server dependent on this happening, but I really feel like there will be certain regions that become known for certain things. One of those being, this is where you go to die. You know, like this is where a lot of the open world PvP really takes place in this particular zone, you know, like AKA like Riverlands or something else entirely, you know, Dunes and Kill Mountains, whatever. I could see
like
something like
good luck running a caravan through that zone, right?
Yeah. And I think that, again, I think there's going to be a lot of ebb and flow, because if there's anything we learned in guild management for this game is that it starts by one morning and by the end of the evening it's something else entirely, and you're trying to catch up and then lead 40 million people in the right direction, right? So like, I think that, you know, it's going to be some ebb and flow, but I really could see that. I agree that there's still going to be those guilds that specialize, but I also think that you're going to see regions that become known for something, that you'll probably see like more like-minded people within those regions, like PvP or, you know, crafting maybe. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it really will. I mean, it's tough, you know, to try to design a game that rewards small guilds and big guilds in a way that allows you to do both that's a tall order. And they've said that they want to do this, and they're trying to build systems in order to do that. I don't know. Like, I don't think we're ever going to be in a spot where a small guild can compete with a big guild on an equal playing field for all of the things.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me, right?
Sure.
It just doesn't. And so what I hope is that a small guild has enough tools at their disposal and enough, you know, progression tree bonuses to be able to do the specialized things that they want to do. Like you said, the one that watches, like Cash said, the one that watches the road, the one that, you know, like just does all the herbalism in the zone or whatever it is, like little tiny guilds, plumbers guild or whatever, you know, like
it's me.
That's what they do. And so I hope, that's my hope as the game gets closer to launch. I don't think there's any chance for that right now.
Yeah.
None.
But couldn't you still have, like, say you wanted to be the flower picking guild, you wanted an herbalism guild, right? Herbalism and alchemy guild.
Sure.
Okay. And you're in this corner of the world. Couldn't you still do that and have all your player stalls where all the things that you make as a guild together, you can sell the raw materials and you can sell the spoils of alchemy. And at the same time, have players that can still PvP and can still play the other aspects of the game. Like, if you want a guild focus, as long as you're competitive, as long as you can still be competitive in the other aspects of the game, like protecting your caravans when you're running all your flowers.
Like, but you want everything now, right? Like, look how hard it is for us to protect our caravans. Like, we are not a super small guild. We're not a huge guild, but like, we've got people that want to do crafting, right? So that kind of takes them and puts them away in different towns right now. They're not even in the same like areas that we are. We've got people that want to do PvP and they're out there and they're just trying to stay alive because they're so outnumbered by a massive PvP guild. And so it's for a smaller guild, it gets very separated right now. If you want to be an herbalism guild, great. But if you want to be an herbalism guild that also runs caravans to protect, you know, and to make money, well, okay, now you have to also be a PvP guild and you have to also do all this other stuff, and you don't have the numbers. And I don't know. I just don't see that as being a viable solution right now.
It's possible, though. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's going to be more possible as we get closer to launch, right? As they keep filling out these systems, like the caravan defense thing. Because like, if you're an herbalist, if you're the flower picking guild, Cash, you want to hire people to protect your caravan.
Yeah.
You want people to come defend your caravan. You don't want to also be the flower picking guild that also, you know, carries axes. It just doesn't make any sense, right? So as we get closer to launch, that's my hope.
You know, I've seen it said by just around the community since our time being here that Zerg guilds will be, you know, what ultimately will run a server. or ultimately will make the biggest impact. And I'll be honest, after playing Alpha 2, like, I never thought I'd agree with it, but so far, yeah, they're right. You know, like that this is the Zerg wins. And it's interesting, especially in the current climate, that's for sure. All right. Let's take a listen. This one's on small rewards. Now, this was from quite some time ago. I want to say in 2024 of April, but let's take a listen. It's going to take longer to invest. I like the smaller rewards because they mean more when you get the bigger stuff. And it means more, even to me, even though like, hey, I may have gotten 5 wool from this. Dude, that's 5 wool that I can use for something else. That's the thing that going back to what Sonny was saying about, you know, I feel like even Sonny himself was missing. Sonny, I want to add to that in regards to the financial thing. I feel like until we get in there and we see where the weight of things lie, it's really hard to gauge things. Small reward is still a good thing. I don't know that I still believe that.
Can you explain a little bit more where your mindset was on this?
This was coming after a large discussion on Cash had made a point, particularly about Guild Wars 2 giving out so many rewards, right? Like based off of quests, or I mean, like your bag's just filled.
Yeah.
You know, and so the opposite side of that is small rewards, which is kind of what AshesOfCreation has taken, you know, that step. It's interesting with AshesOfCreation for me. I guess I'll go first. It feels like sometimes you get gear or drops in spurts. And it could be like an initial maybe like 20 minutes and it's just like boom, boom, boom. And then a drought for hours, you know, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. And then hours. And I know the best gear in this game is going to come from crafting, right? But it's just interesting. And I don't know that I necessarily believe it in the same way that I once believed it, but I think I still agree with it. I don't know. Sonny, what do you think?
I'm going to defer to Cash on this one because I think that he's got a better feel on, you know, he spent more time out there grinding mobs and grinding dungeons and things like that, and whether or not he feels that the reward frequency and volume is something that he thinks is on point, and whether or not small rewards is the way to go.
It's been tough. I will definitely say that it has been tough to try and find sets that, you know, sets of gear that you want. There aren't that many rewards, and it seems like some of the rewards that you do get, like you get a lot of poop. You get some glint depending on where you're at, but it seems like even if we want to do caravan runs, like we're putting together glint farms, and you know, everybody's getting together and we're trying to grind that stuff up. So right now it does seem that there is scarcity, but at the same time, that scarcity also feeds the economy a bit too. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a developer, so I can't see the back end of these things. And I really don't like dive into the numbers very much, but it does seem that it can be a rarity to get like a really good glint drop or a really good gear drop. So it doesn't have like that steady drip of dopamine, but when you get a really good drop, that is a really fun moment. I will say that. Like when my bow dropped that night, when my beloved bow dropped, like, oh my God, I was so freaking stoked. And the best part about it is when you get good drops like that, they'll last you for quite a while. And of course, right now, you know, with the current gear situation, the way it is, how you're kind of better off. Well, you're not kind of better off. You're definitely better off to have level 10 gear and then just put some cheap enchants on it until you can get that really good stuff crafted. It feels weird. It feels like that feels wrong. It feels wrong to take off a piece of 20 gear that we can't really do much enchanting on right now, or it's just so damn expensive, and put on a piece of level 10 gear and then enchant the crap out of it. It feels very strange. And I know this is a testing phase and that stuff will eventually get fixed. But I feel that the scarcity of gear drops and stuff, maybe if it wasn't maybe if it didn't feel like it was on a loop and there weren't certain triggers to bring, and we kind of figured out some of them during our time grinding, where there were certain things that would happen and then bam, bam, bam. Just like Jibs was saying, you'll get 3 drops and then you're done. Then you're just like, okay, let's move on to the next spot or an entire other dungeon and get those 3 drops and then come back. And it felt like it was on a timer. So if it was maybe a little more randomized over time as they fix things, I think it would be a really good thing. But I'm kind of okay with the scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Della Luna put it very well, and he said when that legendary item drops, it needs to be a legendary moment.
Oh yeah.
And that's a great way of putting it. I will say that when you said that the scarcity feeds the economy, you're not wrong on that. The items that it's super easy to get, like ash trees, for example, you can't sell those on the market, even in its current condition. The problem is that the market is so difficult to use that you're not getting a true gauge on how hard something is to sell. But it's not hard to see that the scarcity for willow trees, or when everyone needed copper,
Braidwood.
What was going on there, braidwood right now, right, that's driving those prices. And so you're right. I think at the end of the day, like the small loot is better than big loot for me. Like, I don't like the Guild Wars 2 fill your bags with so much crap that you just have to just unload for pennies on the market or vendor it. Like, that's the worst.
Right. Yeah.
Anything other than that is an improvement. So
yeah,
they're still dialing a lot of this stuff in. You're right. I mean, the level 10 best in slot with a bunch of enchants that's dumb. Like, they're gonna fix that. That won't exist forever.
Right.
So
right.
I'm not worried about that. But yeah, scarcity is good.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, this one's coming to us from October 2023, and this is Sunny on underwater content. Let's take a listen.
I want the water to feel oppressive and dangerous, because that's where I think it has the most benefit. That once you bloop into the water, that you can't live down there. Like, you're breathing, and if there's enemies that are going to try to drag you further in or make it, that gives me anxiety.
Still want that anxiety, Sonny?
Yeah, still got that anxiety. It's like, I maybe wouldn't have had that take again, but like, as I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is awful. Like, oh, I do not want to be in the water. Like, I know that some games, like, is it Warcraft? Can you do that? No, because you got to breathe in Warcraft. But there's like some games where like underwater is just like 3-dimensional space that you can move in.
Yeah.
You go as deep as you want and everything like that.
Right.
I don't like that. Koharu said the bloop. As I heard that, I was like, that's a great sound. Bloop. But yeah, no, like, I still feel that way about water. Like, just under the water in depth gives me great stress. So yeah, that will translate in game.
Cash, remember the slaughterfish?
I do remember slaughterfish, which were hilarious. That is the one thing. It's kind of like running up against like a wall. As soon as you got to the point to where the slaughterfish started hitting you, you had to like turn around and go back the other way.
Yeah.
In Elder Scrolls. I'm kind of there with Sunny, and I got to be honest with you. Like, some stuff will follow you into the water. Some stuff will follow you for like 4 freaking miles.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But and you got to book it, because dying in the water, do they still have that thing where you can't, like, if you die, you can't get your pile?
Yeah.
If it's in the water, right?
Yeah, dying in the water is real bad.
Yeah, it's bad. And at least like right now, like there's no fish, there's no creatures in the water, like aside from like otters or the fat little frogs. Like they'll follow you through that stuff. But yeah, the underwater content right now is not there at all. And I would imagine that when it is, I would hope that they would introduce underwater content. But like, can you really fling an arrow in the water?
Nope. No, you cannot.
Can't not really, meant like, for the water.
You can pokey a sword in the water, but you sure as hell can't swing it. So I loved Guild Wars 2 system. I thought Guild Wars 2 system was really cool. And I'm not asking for that in Ashes, but yeah, like you got a breathing apparatus underwater, and you had like a whole kit for underwater, which was pretty cool.
Yep.
Completely different abilities.
Yeah.
Like it was a completely different game under there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the game I'm talking about when you're talking about like 3-dimensionality and stuff like that. Like Guild Wars 2 was that.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen a game with better water content than Guild Wars 2.
But that's the opposite of what I'm talking about, right? Like when you got into the water in Guild Wars 2, it was just different. But like I don't like that. The water to me should be a place that like you can go down a little bit, but you're gonna start running out of breath. And if things start pulling you down, there should be panic moments. That's the kind of gameplay that I'm looking for.
Yeah, it was funny because when my wife and I, years and years ago, I would play Ark Survival Evolved, and she would watch. And she watched like the first few moments of me playing it, and I was attacked immediately by like some random spider, right? Scared me to death. Well, the thing with Ark is that, like there's underwater content, right? There's underwater bosses as well. And I think that's going to be a thing in AshesOfCreation. When you get down in those depths, Sonny, and just all of a sudden, a massive megalodon is on your butt. Like, it's pure terror. Pure, unbridled, screaming terror that just takes over. So I totally get, like, where your head's at with, not wanting that thing in AshesOfCreation.
H is trying to get me to play Subnautica, and I'm like, dude, I don't need that in my life. Like,
you should look at Raft.
I do not need that. That's the sound is different in your headphones, and like you don't know, like, are things behind me? Are they above me? Are they below me? Like, ooh.
It's so funny how underwater can be so terrifying.
Yeah. It's like, that's lizard brain stuff for humans.
Yeah.
Humans are like, this is not a place you're supposed to be. So, no.
Ugh, gosh, it's good. All right, and so with the final one here, this one is, I don't even know when it's from. It's from a long time ago. And this is on Seasons in AshesOfCreation.
As you were saying it, I didn't expect it to go that way. I thought you'd be like, no, I want to rip through these things and experience them like all in a week.
No.
You want them to be like a month.
Every bit, yeah. I would love there to be that scarcity, because I know that certain resources are only available during certain seasons and certain times.
Content.
Yeah.
Certain content, too.
Certain content. So for me, like, I really want to be able to feel like I'm in a season that's around for a while.
What do you think, JB? You want seasons to be a month long?
No, I don't. And so it's funny because in Alpha 2, we've had the winter for weeks on end, and it's funny. It's like, it's not even available 24/7 right now. But we've had the same season for weeks. And I'm admittedly now thinking like, nope, that's a dumb idea, Greg. We're not going to do that. Let's maybe stick to 2 weeks. Like, oof. Cash, what do you think?
Cash, how long should a season be?
I'd be okay with them being a week at a time.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
I think a week seems right, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it does. I mean, although when you're like, if you're down in the desert, it's like California, it's summer.
Do they get seasons down there? Like in the desert? I haven't seen anything different.
Nope. I haven't seen any snow down there, just a whole lot of sand.
A lot of death is what it is.
Like
a lot of death.
The trees don't change.
Nope.
Like there's nothing changing down there.
Nope.
There's more reasons why we shouldn't be in the desert. Why are we in the desert?
Well,
okay, I know why we're in the desert, but
reasons.
I'm gonna reiterate my statement from many months ago, which is that Sonny does not love the desert. This is a great example why. It never changes. It is the same every time.
sand.
I wonder if they will change that though.
I doubt. I
I wonder
mean,
if that's.
that would really be fantasy, wouldn't it? If they all of a sudden the desert has snow.
I mean, but the desert does have like a spring, doesn't it?
No.
Yeah, I mean, well,
yeah.
around here, the desert does have snow. I mean, we do, but we just, might get a dusting, and the nights are cold. And if it happens to rain, then it gets a dusting. But, yeah, I don't know. I like seeing the transitions. I like seeing the transitions from wintertime Riverlands or wintertime a biome into the desert. You go like down into the desert basin, and you see that you see the heat. I love that. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think that should change.
No.
But everything up top where it's more, climatized. No, it's the wrong
They
word.
should get weather
There's more
though.
climate.
Like Simar says that like there should be desert storms and stuff like that.
Storms, heck yeah.
Sandstorms?
I'd be all
Right?
about
Like,
that.
And sometimes there's a monsoon season, for like maybe like a while you just get constant
It's true.
rain. That'd be cool to just have
Yeah.
like different sort of weather patterns
Yeah.
for something like that. That I would be down with that.
I think that's intended. I really think that's going to be a part of the desert is sandstorms. I don't know that that's when they're doing that.
I would hope so,
but
right?
I just heard that the other day. Now I'm wondering if it's confirmed. But anyway. All right. Well,
It seems like a waste. It seems like a waste if they don't, right?
missed opportunity.
Like that's an opportunity, missed opportunity.
Yeah. Agreed. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, that was super cool.
That was fun.
Cash, I don't think you changed your mind on anything that you said. You're a rock.
I'm pretty definitive. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
there's
You're
a
not
lot of really good foreshadowing back then when the game wasn't even live.
Oh, some of those things though, as you're listening to it, you're like, we had no idea.
No idea. No idea. Seasons for a month long.
Yeah. And I still don't want Tumac at the beginning of a
That was the
document.
easiest of all of them. No, I'm not changing my opinion on that.
What's the matter with you? All right, folks. So this was episode 78 of LoreForged. We hope you enjoyed your time here with us. And if you did, let us know how we're doing. Please, before you leave for the day, take a moment on your podcast app of choice. Leave us a review. We certainly do appreciate it. And also, leave us a comment if you're watching on YouTube. We certainly do appreciate that as well. And of course, you can always email us, LoreForgedHQ@gmail.com. Now, we did make a quick mention, and we're going to be talking about this next week on the show. So to all of you, ping us, our socials, etc. Let us know your thoughts on static nodes. We want to hear your opinions on it. That's happening on episode 79 of LoreForged. Sunny Ravencourt.
Thank you to the chat for participating in this show. You guys did awesome tonight. We got a lot
yeah.
of stuff. We love reading the chat as we're doing this stuff because you guys are oftentimes more informed than us and have great little insights on stuff. You can go to our website, that is at loreforged.com, to find links to all of our Ashes of Creation content, including YouTube, where there's a brand new Varen Chef episode. And that is good stuff. Cash is continuing along his favorite pastime of cooking excellent food. He cooked me and my family an excellent breakfast the other day when we stopped by, and it was spectacular. Thank you for that. You can see us on Twitch. That is twitch.tv/LoreForgedHQ. I have been on Twitch a little bit because I've been off for a few days. Today was rough. Don't do a 2-hour live stream 3 hours before your live show. We're going to not recommend that one again. I was a little tired by the end of that thing. Also, just doing the live stream sometimes is like wild because we have no idea what you're going to get, but it is a lot of fun. So catch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/LoreForgedHQ, and then finally Patreon. If you'll notice, I did release deployment model 1.4 for the C3. We updated all the new materials. There is now, I know they're all not all usable, but I think we're up to like 3,000 different items that you can put in your stuff, which is just astronomical. So definitely check that out. And that is at patreon.com/LoreForgedHQ. Cash.
Friends, follow us on X and Instagram at LoreForgedHQ. And if you're interested in joining our guild, we are still getting active members coming in every week, and it's fun. The Black Talon Trading Company is a casual PvX guild. We do our best to cater everything to adults, parents, working professionals, and we still have lots of people playing the game like Matt. So that said, we are actively recruiting both PvE and PvP players. And I would like to welcome to the community this week, Unifex, Ephesia, O'Leary, Shortbus, Fatal Fleener, and Serial Basilisk. Welcome to the community, and I think about half of those have applied for the guild. So we would love to see some more apps. Come on in.
Perhaps I'll mute my mic. I am a professional. All right, everybody. Well, yep, I deserve it. Go ahead.
You are a professional. You are doing it wrong.
You're not wrong. I am doing it wrong. All right, friends, have a wonderful week in gaming. We love you so much, and we'll see you next week here. And don't forget, March 13th, first live show, LoreForged and Friends with Vlhadus and Dr. Burns. It's going to be one heck of a show and a good time. So take care, everybody. We love you.
Peace, love, and honeybees.
Safe travels, adventures.